Hey guys, what is up? Tim here again for Droid Life, and still taking a look at the Galaxy Note 8, because let's face it, there's a lot to talk about with this device. It is totally feature-packed. We've already gone over the first 10 things to do with this device, such as go over the security settings and setting up themes and things of that nature. And this video will follow that, a precursor to our full review coming later this week. So let's get right into it. This is our 25 tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Alright, so the first tip I would like to talk to you about is wireless charging. If you don't already, if you have owned Samsung devices in the past, you likely already own a wireless charger. But if the Galaxy Note 8 is your first device and the first device that you've owned that supports wireless charging, definitely go pick up a wireless charger. This is one I got from IKEA. I think it was like 35, 40 bucks. Definitely a nice little pickup. Of course, I forget the name right off. It's Swedish. I can't remember everything. But it is a nice wireless charger. You can find them on Amazon, even probably down to 25 bucks, 30 bucks. And of course, Samsung sells their own fast wireless chargers, which go for around $50 to $60. And you can get a charge pretty darn quickly with that fast wireless charging. But either way, if you don't have a wireless charger, definitely go pick one up. All you have to do, no plugging in anything. You just set it right there on the charger and it's good to go. So that is our first tip. Now, moving on. You may have noticed when we did our first 10 things to do with the Galaxy Note 8, I talked about the always-on display, but I want to talk about a little bit more about the customization of that feature. Now, if we dive into the settings menu of the device, go to lock screen and security, you'll see this always-on display option, the toggle on and off. Well, you can actually dive deeper into that, and if you tap on image, you can customize an image that you see on the always-on display. And if we hit change image, I can go down to my downloaded folder. These are images that I've downloaded from Google. You can use Google Photos if you have your account synced on the device. So any photo you've ever taken and uploaded to the service, you can use that on that always on display. So right now I'm rocking a little bulldog puppy. Let's go for bulldog in a little swing. And of course, we can pinch to enlarge or pinch to kind of zoom out of the device. Now, always on display only supports kind of a squared image, no portraits or real landscape shots. So it's always got to be kind of 90 by 90. So you can pinch to make that fit well. And then you just simply hit apply. And then the next time you turn off your phone and that pops up, you'll see a little bulldog chilling in a swing. And that is always on display and changing that up. But also, if we dive back in, with that digital clock option, this is, if you don't want an image, you can at least customize the look of this pretty well. And if we head to color, Samsung offers these cool kind of multicolor options, sort of purple and blue, orange, yellowish, reddish colors. And then, of course, you can change up the background as well. And this is one that I always do. If I'm not using an image, I'll typically use sort of a colored always-on look. And definitely a nice little touch if you enjoy customizing the look of your device. Alright, moving on. Next one, we want to talk about S Pen and a few of the features that are baked into there that Samsung has, of course, included. They keep adding new features every new year with the S Pen. So this one, you may have realized that we didn't talk much about the S Pen in our first 10 things because, frankly, there's not really anything you need to do to set up S Pen. It simply just works. So we're saving it for our tips and tricks video, so let's dive right in. The first one, of course, just like last year, when the display is off, you can remove the S Pen and write a note. Say if you your friend wants to give you a phone number or something, you can just simply write that down. You can save it in your notes, and then it'll be saved for later. Always a nice little touch. Now, when the display is turned on and you remove the S Pen, you'll see this little hovering icon here that pops up and it gives you a few options. Those options are customizable, but I want to dive in real quickly into a few of the options. First one being live message, which is definitely new for this year. Now, let's say if you want to create a message and then send it, these live messages are animated GIFs or GIFs basically, and you can share those on Twitter or Facebook and they'll be animated and everyone can see them. So let's just say, hi DL, with a little exclamation point, and there's our animation. Now we can play the animation or preview the animation, and then we can save that to our phone, share it later, or do whatever. Now what's interesting is that you can take a screenshot of something, say Twitter or a picture you found on the web, then you can animate a message on top of it. I saw Kellen on Twitter do some pretty funny things like that, so if you don't follow him, go follow him. I am Kellix. Pretty interesting stuff over there. Now, when you are done, it'll save the animation, and then will allow you to share it right here. So you can share it via Twitter, Gmail, or wherever. Send it through direct messages, upload it to photos, do whatever you want. Moving on, translate. Not a new feature, but a very handy feature indeed. So right now I've got it set to translate from English to Spanish. So what this does is no matter what word I hover over with the S Pen, the service will translate it in real time using Google. So let's say if I want to translate play, I just hover over play and it translates to Yugar. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. If I hover over play music, musica. Translated very well. Maps. Mapas. So Google Translate, definitely handy if you only need to translate a couple of words at a time. But of course, you can change up what language you are translating to or from, and look at all these languages that are supported. If I wanted to go into Italian, Japanese, Korean, Latvian, Lithuanian, Macedonian, all those are supported. I don't know exactly if all those languages have words for things you might come across that are sort of specific to the English language, but definitely there and handy if you need it. Moving on, we have Bixby Vision. Now, Bixby Vision is sort of interesting. It allows you to, it recognizes what is on the display or what you're hovering over. And with Bixby Vision, you can typically get a link to Amazon if you want to purchase something or find more information on it. So let's just say, for example, because Android 8.0 is Oreo, I've got a picture of Oreos here from Google. I can hover over that with Bixby Vision using the S Pen, and then I can click on the little shopping cart, and it'll show me where Oreos are purchasable on the web. And of course, right here, I've got Oreo chocolate sandwich, pack of 12 for only $35.76. And I can tap on that. It's going to take me directly to Amazon. So a nice little touch. You can also use it to extract text from anything that you see on the web. So let's say, for example, we'll go back. We'll go back to images and say I want those Oreo cookies again. I can hover over it, and then I can go text, and this will work for anything, not just a picture that you see. I can extract the text, and it says Oreo right there, and then I can customize it, do whatever. I can save it as a note or share it if I need to, anything like that. It's definitely a handy little tool if you need it. And of course, as I mentioned, you can customize these, add shortcuts, remove shortcuts. You can also change if you want that floating window to pop out. When and if you don't want it, but of course you can add any applications you want. They have other shortcuts as well that are sort of made specifically for the S Pen, such as magnifying, glance, and coloring, and all that fun stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the S Pen this year, almost enough for its own video, and we may do that here leading up again to our full review. So that's S Pen for you. Let's dive right into different home screen settings. Alright, so for home screen settings, Samsung has built in a few custom things you can do, and to access all of that, when you're on the home screen, you can simply pinch on the display, tap on home screen settings, and then right here you're going to see options for home screen layout, home screen grid, app screen grid, hide apps, and let's dive into each one real quick. So home screen layout, you can choose whether you want to have an app drawer or not, or have all of your applications simply on the home display and not having an app drawer. And of course you can switch between back and forth, it's not a problem. Moving on, home screen grid, this changes up the actual grid of the display. So if you want a more compact look or more kind of look where your icons are a little bit bigger but you have less space, you can do that as well. I keep it on a 5x5, and that should be how it comes out of the box for everybody, but just in case, I use a 5x5. It works really well with widgets and applications. Having just that 5x5 look looks pretty good to me. App screen grid, again, you can change it out to where the icons are a little bit bigger. If you're someone who has a lot of applications, though, you may be using more pages. So just keep that in mind. You know, if you do have a lot of applications, you may want to stick to the 5x6 just to keep things a little bit more compact and more manageable. But the one feature that I really enjoy in here is hide apps. Now, if you have an application on your phone that you don't want someone else to see, or if you have bloatware that comes on the device that you just don't want to disable but you don't want to see it, you simply come into here, you can hide applications. So for example, let's say I want to hide the standard internet application from Samsung because I use Google Chrome. I can simply tap on it, hit apply, and then I won't be able to find it inside of the app drawer. And like I said, I mean, this could work on any application. I could hide all my apps or just particular apps I don't want others to see. It's really up to you. And then the next part of this is actually with the notification pull down and this brightness toggle, the slider. And when you bring the phone out of the box, this option is disabled. And when you pull down, let me get that all out of the way for you. When you pull down, there's no brightness slider right here. And not something I really appreciate. I don't want to have to give an extra slide just to access my brightness. So to customize this, you hit on that little arrow pointing down, and then you're going to show control on top. And when that's enabled, when you pull down for that first time, there's your brightness slider. No more secondary pull down or anything like that. Believe me, right out of the box, that's going to be one of the first things you should do. The next part of this video, I want to talk about advanced features inside of the settings menu. So when you're in advanced features, this is where you can find all the nifty stuff that Samsung cooks into their software. And we went over a few of these things in our first 10 things to do video, but I want to talk specifically about a few of the other things that are in here because there's so much. It could probably be its own video. So if we dive into multi-window, Samsung has a few ways that it implements multi-window on their devices. And the first one being use the recents button, and that you can use that to chop your display in two and have two apps running simultaneously. So for example, we can just hold on it and that display will still turn up. We can still use it regularly. Then we can also have Google Play open. You can do this for YouTube and Chrome or anything. If you got your fantasy football thing going, you can be down here on your Yahoo Fantasy League changing things up while the game's going. I don't play fantasy. I don't even know if you can do that. But anyway, if you want to close that out, you can press on use recent apps button, press on your recent apps button again. And then you can also access sort of what we would say the true definition of multi-window, and that's called pop-up view action. So today we're in an application such as Google Play. You can swipe down from either the left or the right top corner and minimize that app into its own little window. And you can have many different applications open at the same time. Say I need my gallery of Bulldog open again. I can dive that into its own window, move them around. I can resize them by dragging, holding, pressing, doing all that. And then I can compact them into their own little windows. And if I do that, they'll sort of group together. And then I can drag them around. I can't dismiss them like say you can a Facebook chat head, but you can simply open them back up, tap on them, X on them, close them out. It allows you to get a lot of stuff done at the same time. I have heard Samsung say that you can have up to 16 windows open at the same time. Don't ask me if you would actually ever need that, but it is there. Moving on, we have palm swipe to capture. And a lot of people, I'm just going to, no name dropping, but my mom in particular, she hates that she has to hold on the power button and volume down to take a screenshot on some phones. On Samsung phones, they have smart capture, and you can simply slide your palm across the device to take a picture. Now, what I always tend to do is I'll interact with the UI itself, and instead of doing what I want it to do, it'll go dive into something. But sometimes I can get it working just right, where if I swipe palm, it'll take a picture, and that can be quite handy dandy. Now moving on, we have one-handed mode, and this one should be right here near the top. So one-handed mode, I have it set to use as the button. You can also swipe up diagonally from bottom corner to get into one-handed mode. This one just seems the easiest. So if I have the phone in my hand, say I need to do something, but I can't go, I'm walking my dogs or something, I can just press on home button 3 times and it goes into the one-handed mode. And of course the phone is totally usable, just as you always would expect it to be. Dive in, do whatever I need to do. And then to simply get out of that, I can tap on the outer side, or I believe I can just tap on the 1, 2, 3 again, and that'll go right back into your sort of normal two-handed mode. Moving on. This is something that some people have mentioned, that the battery life on the Galaxy Note 8 may not be awesome because it's not, rocking a 4,000 milliamp hour battery or anything like that. So let's dive right into how to extend your battery life, and that is under device maintenance. So here with battery, if we go tap on the battery menu, you'll see that there are power saving modes, and these are not new to Samsung devices. If you've owned one, you probably know what this is. So here we have no power saving mode enabled, but if we go to a mid power saving mode, my phone can last up to 4 hours longer than what's estimated right now. If we go to max and like we cut cellular and we turn our displays black and white and all that, we can get 50 hours of battery life from what's left. And right now I think I'm at about, I don't know, phone doesn't want to tell me, but I can extend the battery life quite a bit. Now you will be killing a lot of functionality of the device, but it is something like, say if you're going on a flight or there's no charger available at the airport, having these power saving modes can be super useful. If you don't know if the next time you're going to get a charge, they can be quite saving. So if you need that, definitely take advantage of it. Next one, for the kind of basic tips I wanted to show you. Then we got something special afterwards, but I want to talk about changing app shortcuts on the lock screen. So on the lock screen, not the always on display, but on the lock screen here in the bottom corners, bottom right, bottom left, we've got app shortcuts, this one to the phone, and then this one to the camera. If you want to change those up, you can do so very quickly under the lock screen and security menu. And if we scroll down a little bit, we have app shortcuts. And tapping on those shortcuts, left shortcut is phone. Again, you can change that to anything you want. So if you want the calculator real quick, and the right shortcut, maybe we want our gallery, we can do that. So now on the lock screen, we can simply swipe open to our calculator. And on the lock screen, we can also now swipe open to our gallery and quickly access our album of awesome bulldogs. Now, that is it for our sort of standard tips and tricks, but I've got some special stuff next, one maybe for our advanced users. Alright, so we have reached the end of this video, and this last little tip and trick is for, some of our advanced users. Not that you need to be an advanced user to appreciate it, but on Samsung devices, they have, this Grace UI or TouchWiz, whatever they're calling it these days. Now, some of the animations and the window speed animations may seem sort of slow when you're kind of diving in and out of applications. I have found a way to change that, and this is a way that's been in there for quite some time, for years now I think, but it's always something that I do on devices that have these custom skins. Stock Android isn't too bad with it, but what you're going to do is inside of the About phone, if this is not already enabled on your device, it shouldn't be out of the box, but when you get in here, scroll down a little bit, you're going to see this build number, and tap on build number. And when you tap on it like this, you're going to see a countdown in the bottom of the display. You'll see this little window popping up. It's going to say developer mode, like turning on in 3, 2, 1 with the taps. And so once you have done that and once developer mode has been enabled, you simply back out of that a little bit, and right underneath it, you're going to see this new option for developer options. Now under developer options, you can access a lot of stuff that could potentially harm your phone. So I always suggest, never toggling anything unless you know for certain what you're doing. You can find explanations on the web for what a lot of this already does, like if you need USB debugging or want to go into the demo mode for some reason. But anyway, scroll down a little bit inside of developer options, and you're going to come across under drawing, you're going to find window animation scale, transition animation scale, and animator duration scale. Now, what is awesome about this is that this can basically sort of act as a placebo effect to make your phone feel as if it's going a little bit faster. Right now, you'll see the windows. You can definitely see the animations and all of that. So what you can do is you can basically speed that up or turn them off completely. And what you're going to want to do is I scale them back to 0.5 times. I scale everything back, and you'll notice that everything just feels a little bit quicker, I guess you could say, diving in and out of applications, going to home and all that, bringing up any type of UI or interacting with the phone. It just seems snappier. And as I said, you can turn them off completely, and that will get rid of all animations, and that will definitely make your phone feel like it's going a little bit quicker. No more going in and out, panning, zooming, none of that. It simply opens everything up. And like I said, it makes your phone feel a little bit faster. Unless they are turned off like they are right now, it does sort of act as a placebo effect. And some people enjoy those animations. If you really want to enjoy them, you can even make them go really long. And again, these are for, specifically made for developers. but it is just sort of a nice way you can make your phone feel faster. If you're not a huge fan of skins, you can at least speed them up a little bit. And so that's a little pro tip. Like I said, there are things inside developer options that can hurt your device. Not necessarily hurt, but it can definitely mess with the operation of the device and your experience. So just be careful when you're messing around with stuff in there. So that's been our tips and tricks video for the Galaxy Note 8. Like I said, we have our full review coming later this week, so if you want to catch that, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the section below, and I'll be there to field them. And until then, we're Droid Life. Peace.